If you're like me, you've spent a lot of time on the internet, and in those formative years of unsupervised web browsing, you've probably come across a few weird pieces of media, whether it be some random meme, a strange internet video, or just something really weird. So today, I'm going through 4 pieces of weird internet media that I've always found intriguing, and I'm going to be finding the stories behind them, some of which are way different than you could have probably ever imagined. And yeah, I know I'm not the first one to do a video like this, but these pieces of media are different than anything in those videos, so it'll still be fresh. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with one of my favorites. This photograph is one of the most popular images to come out of the furry community, at least in terms of being known by people outside of the furry world. This picture depicts a scared, teary-eyed furry child who is witnessing some sort of argument between what we can presume to be his furry parents. We can also see that the father is holding a bottle of what we can assume to be alcohol and some bruising on the young boy, which, all jokes aside, paints a pretty grim picture as to what we're witnessing in this photograph. In recent years, this picture has become a pretty common meme you'd find in the comment sections of Instagram Reels and forums, oftentimes in response to watching other people argue. But that made me wonder, what's the actual story behind the original image? Well, this artwork is actually called Trauma, and was uploaded to Fur Affinity, a popular website for furries, on June 1st, 2016. The artwork featured very little in the description, only saying, "practicing a more emotional art style." But what's interesting to me is the comments you can find underneath this artwork, of different members of the community being genuinely moved by the picture, relating to it with their own struggles. But you can also find people who are only there for the meme. Man, this comment section was really a melting pot, but one thing I also noticed on the page was that the artist behind Trauma actually wrote an update on its 10th anniversary. For those who still have doubts, this was meant to be event art. At this time in 2016, I was going through a lot of difficulties and problems with my family, but today I'm much better and I've overcome these problems. So I don't mind if the art is used for memes. I even like how it changed from something sad to something funny for me. However, any disrespectful comments towards me will be deleted and the person will be blocked. That said, feel free to use this as a meme. I really don't care. Ultimately, I think that learning the real story behind this picture is somewhat endearing. I also want to shout out the artist who seemingly has a sense of humor around his work becoming a meme. Who says furries don't have a sense of humor? Oh, and the guy who made Trauma also made a pretty insane video showing Crash Bandicoot and Tails having a pretty brutal, gory fight, which is one of the most insane things I've ever seen on YouTube. Literally, Crash rips Tails' fucking eyeball out, and it's fucking insane, dude. Anyone who has ventured into any sort of unfiltered political talking space online has more than likely seen this image a few times. This image has become one of the main images used when memeing about liberals and Democrats, with such classics including "my face when someone tells me there's only 2 genders," and LGBT when they realize the flag and colors are straight. There are tons of these memes out there all over the internet, shared far and wide. Hell, this picture was even used as the thumbnail to a PewDiePie video back in 2017, as well as Donald Trump Jr. posting it on his Twitter account. But where exactly does this picture come from? And what exactly triggered this woman in the first place? So the picture itself actually comes from a video from the now suspended Alex Jones YouTube channel InfoWars, from a video titled "Trump Supporters Shut Down Protesters." The debate they're having is seemingly about the Geneva Convention, war tactics, and most importantly for this story, sexual assault statistics by refugees. Now, it's important to state that our quote-unquote triggered liberal is just standing by for a majority of this debate, and she's not even one of the main people involved for a majority of the time, and is really nothing more than a simple bystander. However, one of the guys debating makes the following argument.
You're getting people that can't go out, women can't go out dressed like this because she's being provocative, because she doesn't have a
Girls are not allowed to wear skirts to school anymore in Germany because it might tempt the migrants to rape them.
Why should Sweden have to change its ideas of making a female-only swimming pool to accommodate to another people?
You're accommodating for something.
And that's when our triggered liberal decides to finally speak up. And I'm sure you're wondering what kind of rage and venom she's about to spew towards this man. Well, what if I told you she doesn't get mad or triggered at all?
There's not racists coming into just because they're refugees doesn't mean they're fucking. And but they're raping people in Germany. My parents are immigrants.
I got a story.
My parents are immigrants. No, not even a fucking big percentage. Tiny.
How many women in the U.S.?
Get rich. Do you know how many?
1 in every 3
Ton,
women.
a ton.
All American.
That's a crisis. There's a crisis. Exactly.
But if you look at a lot of the that are being reported, that is not a fact.
The so-called triggered feminist wasn't even triggered. She seemed respectful to everyone standing around, even listening to the people she's obviously disagreeing with. Yet, a few screenshots of this interaction has tricked millions of people into believing she was some sort of pissed off lady screaming at the people. You'll see so many people in the comments section of the full video coming to this exact conclusion themselves. This girl probably got her life ruined because of all the dumb memes made out of her. I will say in closing that she was legitimately the most calm person in this entire debate, in my opinion. Yet this meme has painted her as nothing more than triggered, which is the ultimate proof that you probably shouldn't take everything you see at face value. And now let's get away from this political stuff and let's talk about something a little more lighthearted.
I'm gonna beat the game if it takes me all summer. It's gotta be hard to get laid if you're a plumber. That's why I'm gonna work extra hard for my man.
Four Midgets Relay Race a Camel is a YouTube video uploaded in April of 2011, which, as the title states, is a video where 4 little people have a 400-yard relay race against a camel. Growing up, this was one of my favorite YouTube videos ever, which has several different re-uploads and edits you can find all across YouTube, such as this edit which gives the little people Mario-style power-ups. But in all my years of watching this video, I never considered where this video originated. The video itself is a secondhand recording of whoever originally made this race happen, which aired on something called the Fox Reality Channel, a short-lived TV channel which aired a number of original shows which focused on reality-based content, with hit shows such as Who Wants to Marry My Dad?, Smile, You're Under Arrest, and My Bear Lady, a show which gave porn stars a chance to work real jobs. This channel was packed full of this kind of slop, and the channel just so happened to re-air 2 Fox television specials from the early to mid 2000s named Man vs. Beast. Man vs. Beast was a television special which showcased humans challenging animals in a series of events, with one of the main challenges of the episode being little people racing a camel. Now, during the actual special, there is tons of behind the scenes of this race, as well as the announcers treating this race as if it was some sort of monumental event with major stakes, as well as some of the warm-ups from the Little People team and hearing from their coach, who is also a little person. There's also some facts and additional footage about camels, as if any person who is watching this was trying to actually learn something, all of which leads to the official race itself, which was a really good matchup, leading to a photo finish. However, ultimately, the camel won by less than a second. Other Man vs. Beast challenges included a hot dog eating contest between Kobayashi, the former world record hot dog eating champion, versus a bear. Also a chimpanzee versus a Navy SEAL in an obstacle course, a sumo wrestler tug of war versus an orangutan, and a few other pretty weird matchups. However, I did find one of the other challenges pretty interesting, as at the end of Man vs. Beast 1, they had another similar challenge involving little people where 44 little people challenged a literal elephant, and they wanted to see who could pull an airplane a certain distance the fastest, which the little people also lost as well. I don't really know how to wrap this one up, Usually I try to find some sort of lesson or some sort of cute saying to wrap it all up, but I can't think of one for this. I guess the lesson can be not to underestimate the strength and speed of little people? Whatever, I guess let's go with that. The final piece of media we're going to be discussing today is a photograph that has intrigued me forever. I'm a huge fan of that genre of photographs which show off those Chinese knockoffs of American brands, such as this photograph of so-called Obama Fried Chicken, a Chinese chicken restaurant that I actually made an entire video about just a few months back. However, the pinnacle of these pictures, in my opinion, is this photograph for a shoe store by the name of Nibe, which, as you could probably tell, is a knockoff of the classic Nike shoe brand, complete with its own knockoff Nike swoosh. This photograph has always intrigued me, and I've always wondered one thing: where was this shop actually located in the world? After doing some digging, I found that this photo originates from a Flickr account from a guy named Adrian, with the description for the photo saying, "Seen in Shanghai." But despite the victory of having an official city to lock in on, Shanghai is still huge, so we needed a way to narrow it down. So I started looking around the internet for all the places online where the Nibe picture has been posted, just hoping for some sort of additional information which could possibly help us find where this shop was located. And eventually, I actually came across another picture. This picture was a completely separate photograph of the same exact Nibe sign. After tracing the origins of the picture, I found that it too was originally posted on Flickr. A user named Glazero took the photograph in April of 2008, 9 months after the other picture was supposedly taken. However, as opposed to the original picture which was uploaded alongside other Chinese knockoffs, this new picture was uploaded alongside a set of pictures our photographer saw while visiting Shanghai. In layman's terms, this meant that alongside the Nibe Store picture were other pictures of what we can only assume to be the surrounding area of the Nibe Store. And throughout those pictures, the most important picture in this album is the photograph of a very large Coke bottle, which with a little research, I found was on Nanjing Road in Shanghai. Nanjing Road is supposed to be some sort of shopping mecca for Shanghai, so the idea of Nibe being on or around Nanjing Road was actually pretty good. And seeing as how the Nibe Store photograph was taken only 3 pictures after their visit to the Coke bottle, this was the break we were hoping for. Now the next step would usually be to hop on Google Earth and start walking around the surrounding areas looking for Nibe. But seeing as how China doesn't allow Google Earth to archive their country, that wasn't an option. So I shot a message to my buddy Glowblood, who is a YouTuber who is the master of finding the locations of popular videos and memes. He ended up pointing me towards a site called Baidu, which is the Chinese version of Google Maps, which actually has its own version of Street View, albeit not as extensive as Google Earth. So I found the location of the Coke bottle on Baidu and started walking around. I ended up spending the next 3 days looking all around the area, just trying to find anything that looked like it could have been where the Nibe Store was. We even made a map marking the way the original photographer was most likely walking to give us a better idea of where it could have been. On top of this, I looked through several walking tours of Nanjing Road, tons of archived videos from around 20 years ago on YouTube, and I even found some documentary about homeless people who lived on Nanjing Road from 2006. I literally sat through all 96 minutes of that documentary just hoping to catch a glimpse of anything that could possibly help us find the Nibe Store, and sadly, I failed. I tried everything in my power to find the Nibe Store, but as of right now, we just haven't found it yet. I have hope that one day, the Nibe Store location will be found. Maybe you, the viewer, can go searching for it. Maybe you can find that one little thing we're missing which will solve this mystery once and for all. And if you find anything at all, let me know in the comments below. Now this video was supposed to end with another entry, covering one of my favorite videos ever made, showing this guy dancing in the shower while smoking an e-cig. However, as I dove into the story behind this video, It actually ended up being a pretty intense and sad story which I felt deserved a video of its own. So I did just that, and I made an entire video dedicated to it which you can watch right here. Also, I covered another dirtier video, and the story behind it was way too dirty to put on YouTube and can only be found on my $1 a month Patreon. That video is one of the dirtiest things I will ever make. But that's going to do it for today, guys, so if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and as always, remember, Kobe sucks.